I'm super excited to share with you. This is our inaugural episode of the Growing Down podcast.
My name is Jeremy Sanders. I'm the founder and CEO of VerbLab, and I'm also the co-host on our new podcast, Growing Down.
And my name is Akshay Ramanathan. I'm the founder and CEO of Six Figure Success. Jeremy and I have a very unique and special relationship which has been cultivated over the last year. We're very excited to introduce some of the new projects that we're working on and share them with you because we know that they're going to be of tremendous value to young professionals, students, certainly, as well as solopreneurs and founders. And just a little bit of backstory, Jeremy and I started working together. I had the tremendous opportunity to help Jeremy get settled, find an internship, and after that, I said, be free, go. And Jeremy said, you know what, let's keep working together. And as a result of that, we've done some incredible things this summer, which has thus inspired this podcast, and I'm sure a whole lot of great content to come. I want to first tackle why we're doing this. Jeremy, let me turn it over to you. Why do you think we should record a podcast, and what kind of value do you think we can deliver through this medium?
A podcast like this just delivers a lot of value to people who are looking to unleash that inner creativity that we all have.
Whatever you're passionate about, you should invest yourself in it. And more importantly, the process of creating something and taking something from your mind and making it into a reality is such a profound experience that content creators and artists and truly I think everyone wants, but I feel that so many people believe that they can't, or they don't, or they won't. And I think a large part of this podcast is for us to inspire those people to say, hey, whatever your passion is, lean into it.
First of all, I think there's this misconception out there that you can only have one career path. Take me, for example, I'm building a finance career. In addition to that, I'm building this company, VerbLab, because it's something I'm genuinely interested in as well. I also want to keep that creative outlet and build something of my own. See where that could go, impact as many people as possible. I love working with founders. That's a huge part of that too. And VerbLab gives me the opportunity to bring out my writing side, my creative side, write content for founders like you. So I get to combine all those things without interfering with and having to sacrifice the corporate side as well.
Can you just tell us a bit about what VerbLab is and what the intention of this company and program is?
Yeah, so VerbLab's intention is to help small businesses and startups build a strong brand, primarily through written content. Generally comes in the form of articles, newsletters, executive bios, website copy, pretty much anything that comes up. But the unique value is that I don't treat my clients like clients. It's a partnership. I'm available pretty much around the clock. It's partnership based. I handle everything from those basic articles to website editing, implementing strategies, even a little bit of marketing consulting. For example, I'm a member of Gen Z. I am the younger generation. I know I can get into the minds essentially of other members of my generation and bring that expertise and fresh perspective to founders like you who are trying to get into those minds as well and figure out what appeals to them.
To give you some context, I'm the founder of Six Figure Success. Six Figure Success is born out of my passion for helping students and young professionals launch strong corporate careers with excellently tailored resumes, proper cover letters, LinkedIn profiles, and more importantly, an understanding of their work story and their work narrative. And through this process, I had the opportunity to link up with Jeremy, assist him and support him in that corporate side of things. But at the same time, I also got to be a client of Jeremy's. And so Jeremy has helped me significantly with strategizing my communication, figuring out what is my target audience, which is the Gen Z population, and understanding really, like he said, offering that perspective and that mindset. I think a lot of businesses actually really struggle with identifying their ideal customer.
Absolutely.
And that's a huge problem because their messaging is off target. And so for me personally, having Jeremy's perspective as well as his peers is so informative to me on how I create my communication, and thankfully Jeremy is equally a part of my team as I am a part of his. And I think as far as partnership goes, I think we have probably the quintessential definition of a quality partner. I look at the situation like I have so much to learn from him, and whatever I can offer him, I present. And he tells me what's valuable, and it just creates this great dynamic, which I think is truly representative of what great partnerships could be. And I think founders who are starting out on their own journey, it usually starts alone. And it's alone and
absolutely.
scary and lonely for a long time.
Yeah.
So having a partner to support you in this endeavor has been, certainly Jeremy, has been a tremendous support to me. You know that, and I think you could probably say the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so over the summer, we've done a couple of things. We've been testing and experimenting with some really cool ideas. Like we did the digital discussion series.
That was great.
You want to share with them what we did? Yeah.
So we co-hosted a series of webinars, audience-involved webinars. We called them digital discussions because webinar does imply more that you're being talked at, but we prefer to involve the audience, get some more fresh perspectives in there, just engage people further. We hosted them on a variety of topics, and the first one was networking. That one was really successful. I was actually thinking to myself earlier today about doing another one like that on my own. And then there were some ones on just further career development. I know there was a finance specific one too. Just really touching on as much as possible for the sake of appealing to a broad audience. And then in addition to that, just reaching as many people as possible and really driving down that impact.
And what I really love about Jeremy's attitude towards partnership is that our values very much aligned. And I think that's what creates that sort of synergy, that similar sort of mindset, and it establishes such a great collaborative communication dynamic, which is so important. And I think that just that alone, great things are not built alone. You need partners, and you need the right people around you to support you. And I am of the belief that that finding those people are rare, and when you do, you should go above and beyond to deliver for them. And I think that's another value that Jeremy and I have, that our relationship with our clients we're just not, it's a client-agent relationship.
Yeah.
Like, we are there to support them above and beyond the call of duty.
Which is why most people, when they hear content writer, they think of someone who, you pay like a one-time fee for a set of articles. I do offer that, but that's not what I try to drive to my clients. All of my clients, I try to not push, but just encourage, hey, look, this is a partnership. I can offer so much more than this for you. And it's not like I charge extra for it even, because it's not even about the money at that point. It's about having a full-fledged partnership just increases the value of the output. And also, you brought up a point a while ago about mutual benefit. I've heard that phrase thrown around so much lately, mutual benefit. And in this kind of a partnership, it's actually pretty simple. I'm able to give you that insight into what does a member of Gen Z or even millennials, what do these generations want? How can you create unique value proposition for them? From you have 13 more years of experience than I do with growing and building businesses especially. I know Sakun Travel Group was where it all started and now a six-figure success. And you're able to provide that perspective and also just direct knowledge on how to build a business, how to get clients, how to scale, what works, what doesn't. And that's why a partnership like this is so valuable.
And I can't say enough about Jeremy, but I truly believe that if you're endeavoring to do something on your own, start a side hustle, go for it. There's so much that we've done this summer, and I think with Jeremy's support, he's helped me push through so many barriers. We recently did a photo shoot, and I also got the opportunity to talk at NYU in front of an audience of about 1,000 people. And Jeremy very interestingly pointed out that I had more difficulty sitting in front of a camera and talking to you than I did talking to a theater of 1,000 people. And it's put in my mind, the things that are stopping us from achieving our goals are really only ourselves.
100%. Your biggest obstacle is yourself.
You're
your own worst enemy.
And I think now more than ever, like, we have the tools and technology, and we have YouTube, which I honestly believe is the best education you can receive. And we have the resources available to us, and we have the technology and tools available to us to make great, valuable content and information for people who can truly benefit from it. And I think that given that Gen Z by 2030, what is going to make up 30% of the workforce, quite honestly, we're going to be working for them. Let's get on board. Let's understand that is the way the world is moving. And so I'm very grateful to have this partnership, have you as a friend, as a partner, and I have a big vision. I know you know that, and I think we have lots of plans. And so beyond the podcast itself, we're excited to bring you all sorts of new things. But let me ask you something. What do you think what misconceptions, use the word misconception.
Yeah.
What misconceptions do you think that the Gen Z generation has that someone, a millennial like me, probably older millennial, whatever, could benefit from, right? What knowledge could I share with you? You know I've shared with you a lot of knowledge, but what kind of information could the Gen Z audience benefit from?
Yeah, I think that it depends. Gen Z is we're open-minded. We are a more open-minded generation, so I actually think that catering to and offering that unique value to Gen Z, I actually don't think it's as difficult as you might think. As opposed to, say, baby boomers, older generations. I personally have, from a sales perspective, I have no idea how to sell something to a baby boomer. I don't.
Neither do I.
Not at this point. I really don't. But with Gen Z, we're more open-minded, but also, I think just growing up with the internet, we're also a little more kind of cautious, so to speak. For example, I know every time I get a phone call from a number I don't know, just as an example, I'm going to assume that it's a spam call and not worth my time at all. But I think the really unique value that millennials can bring is you guys grew up during kind of that inner period of when the internet and technology were on the rise, but they weren't the dominant aspect of daily life. Whereas for me, by the time I was 14 years old, phone in hand, everything is at your fingertips, which is good and bad. But I think that having the perspective of someone like yourself, a mid to older millennial, who grew up during that kind of inner period, I think that kind of helps bring Gen Z members back to the more kind of traditional, earlier rooted stuff, which is important.
I love that. I have so much respect for the Gen Z generation. I truly do believe that they are going to make a tremendous impact on this planet, on our society, on the way that we live, on the way that we work. I hope that the conversations about work-life balance are soon to disappear, and we start to understand that there's just life, and these things are combined together. And the thing that I want to ask you about is what I realize is that Gen Z, over and over again, when I do research, the word authenticity comes up, right? That Gen Z values authenticity. And I'm curious to know, why is that uniquely so? Is that a function of technology and media? What about that is so resonant with your generation?
I think that technology and media definitely play a role in that, because so much of what we see on the internet it's completely fake, it's completely false. And I think that finding that authenticity in today's world can sometimes be difficult. So we intentionally seek that out, because we know, I speak for myself and I speak on behalf of my generation when I say that authenticity and trust are not as easy to find, but they're what's right. It's what brings the most value. I think that's honestly the overarching theme here, is about maximizing the value proposition, the value that can be brought to an individual.
I love the way that's put. And to those who, harkening back to what we said before about companies not having a sense of their ideal customer, right?
Yeah.
Let alone, even a vague description of what their ideal target buyer persona is.
Yeah.
When you, especially targeting the Gen Z audience, you really need to get to know them. You need to understand them. And you need to, I think there's some humility that's required to say, hey, I'm not of this generation, and I don't understand. And even though we're only 10 years apart, which in the grand scheme of things isn't a lot, is pretty significant given the evolution of technology.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting that while we can have very dynamic conversations that feel always on the level,
yeah,
but there is a truly unique perspective that you bring that I need, and I think there's a unique perspective that I have that you need, that you can benefit from.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And in collaboration, I know this summer and the work that we've done has been evident that this partnership will blossom into something truly beautiful. And the vision that I have for what Six Figure Success and VerbLab has to offer in terms of value for Gen Z, as well as millennials, is tremendous. So I'm really excited about the topics that we're going to discuss on this podcast. We titled this podcast called Growing Down, and this is a concept that I've been very attached to for almost 10 years, and I'm starting to write a book on it, but it is my sense that as we have grown up, we have lost something in terms of, we have lost a sense of imagination and in a sense of creativity, a sort of childlike, not childish, but a childlike take on things, and that has stifled our ability to be actually innovative.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I
mean, innovation and creativity go hand in hand.
And I truly feel like that's been sadly, corporate America has snuffed out a lot of that, I feel. I think the best companies value it tremendously and are making it super, like, the forefront of what they're talking about. There's many companies who I think will slowly see a decline if they don't step up and say, hey, the future is not behind us, it's ahead of us. And maybe these guys know what they're talking about, and maybe we should listen to them. And so, at least from my point of view, I hope to bring... We created this thing called Growing Down to explore a number of different subjects beyond just career coaching topics, resume editing tips, and career job searching strategies, but to also explore more dynamic and abstract concepts that we can get deeper with, right? Such as discussing what is this generational divide, right? Like, how can we bridge that? How can people be more understanding, conscientious, empathetic, like all of these things, and work those into, you are the future leaders of this world. And it's 2023. The idea that it's 2023 is mind-blowing in and of itself. But 2030 is just around the corner. And that's when your generation will make up 30% of the workforce and will have such a significant impact. And I don't know that is appreciated in as much as it should be.
Yeah.
But that being said, on just a closing note, like, Jeremy, what are you excited about this podcast? What do you envision for? What do you want to do with it? I know I have my ideas. What do you want to do with it?
I just want to cover as much as possible, make as much of an impact as possible, and just really put something out there that resonates with people.
Cool. Yeah, no, I'm definitely on board. For me, I think I'm in a place where I want to communicate that what you want to do, you can do. If you have the dream of doing something, I think God didn't give you the dream without the capabilities to do it. And I think that this is a truly, I think Salesforce referred to it as like the fourth industrial revolution, right? But the advent of ChatGPT, the advent of these AI tools and technologies, Midjourney for like art creation, all of these things, they are mind-blowingly cool. And I think that if we look at these as opportunities to help enhance our creativity, right? There's something called OI instead of AI, right? AI is artificial intelligence. But what about OI? Original intelligence, right? Let's not set us the birthplace of AI, right? We created these language models that computers are now using, right? I want to stress to everybody that they should tap into that creative place, that they should leverage their imagination, that they should set goals that are bigger than themselves, and they should dream big. Because now, if ever there was a time in history to make those kind of things happen, all you need is one of these.
It's a smartphone. That's it.
Smartphone. It's crazy, right?
You can do everything with that.
You can do everything with this thing. And
just think about how many people out there make 7, sometimes 8 figures a year that at the very least started on one of those.
On one of those, right?
It's something to think about.
Something to think about. So anyway, in closing, this was just an intentional introduction, but we're super excited to create this project for you to... There's a lot of commentary on documenting your journey.
Yeah.
I think we have both started our journey. I know I am now just coming around to getting over my insecurities about getting on camera and talking about
the fear of being on camera.
The fear about doing these things. But we're in a position where we can start documenting that journey and we can share and relate. And I think that's would be a lot of value to people. That would be a lot of interesting things. Plus, I think we also bring we bring the real talk. You know? Like, entrepreneurship is no joke. It is so difficult and hard and challenging, but at the end of the day, it's mind-blowingly rewarding. you can speak to how you feel. When I get a client or student that comes back to me that says, hey, that mutual fund that I wanted to work at, I got the internship at, it's music to my ears. Like for me, my client's success is my success. And so that's what I hope for all of you. I wish you guys all the best of success, and I hope that we can deliver information that will be interesting, valuable, entertaining, informative. Maybe we'll do a skit or a dance if that attracts you as well. But at any rate, on a closing note, Jeremy, do you have any final words to say?
Yeah, I'm just excited to see where this goes.
Awesome.
Just reaching as many people as possible, maximizing that impact.
Awesome. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us this evening, and we will see you soon. All right. That's it. That was 17 minutes.